Alright, so I'll show you how to build the motor unit now, and for this you're going to need a 60-tooth gear, two black 3-hole bushings, this small orange bracket. You need 4 1/2-inch screws, 2 nuts, and 2 collars. And the collars that you need, one of them's got to be a good collar with a small set screw in it. One of them can be a collar that has a regular bolt in it. Just focus there. Okay. So I think the easiest way to assemble this is going to be to put the motor on first. And the motor is got to go on the left side. Okay, so I'm going to kind of keep this orange bracket kind of like this and work from the top down. And the motor's got to go on the left side with the 2 bolts on the back. And I'm putting these through the top holes. So my bracket, the motor bolts through these 2 holes here. Now, when I'm doing this, the motor, these little metal pieces, actually kind of fit into those holes on the orange bracket, kind of like that. Okay, let's see, they kind of fit in there like that. Now, what I need to do is I'm also going to be adding a bushing on there. And so once I get all of those things together, and it might be easier to put the bushing first, and the bushing goes on the inside. See that? Then the motor goes on. And this is the part that gets a little tricky, and what you really need to do is pinch all 3 of these pieces, the bushing, the metal piece, and the motor, pinch them together with your fingers so you can put one of these 1/2-inch bolts here and just get it started. So just start twisting it in so that it connects all the pieces together. Now if you let go, it's not that big of a deal. Then I just move my fingers down a little bit and put the second bolt in and get it started. There we go. And some of these bolts are a little tricky. But once you get them started, they work pretty well. Okay, so now I've got these bolts started. It's a little wiggly, so I'm going to take my wrench and I'm just going to go in from the side through this hole so that I can get to it and just tighten these up. I'll do both of those. Okay, now we got this side done. Now I can put this up like this, and you can see how the motor is attached. I'm going to put this bushing on the outside here. Let me see a little bit better if I do like that. And I want to make sure that I put the bolts through these 2 holes so that they match the bolts that are going through those other 2 holes. So I'll just drop them through. Gravity is keeping all these pieces together. And then I can just put my finger like right between here and hold both of those bolts in so that I can flip it over and put the nuts on the back. And this camera does a terrible job of focusing, and I'm sorry about that. I should get a better one. There we go. Alright, so we get those 2 nuts in there, so that now we're looking at a piece like this, and I will just tighten them up so that they don't get loose. I've got this. Now we can take our axle, and what we need to do is put our axle through enough so that it sticks out here, but not all the way through here, because we have to put a bushing in between here, or I'm sorry, a collar. So I'm going to take my collar that has a good set screw, nice dark black, not worn out set screw, and I'm just going to put that on the axle and then push the axle all the way through. And I'll make sure that when the axle gets to the motor right here, I have to twist a little bit so that its square shape matches up with the motor's square hole, and it slides all the way in there. Then I'm going to put my finger on the end here so it's not sliding out. I'm going to move this bushing tight up that way, and I'm just going to snug it down with my wrench. Not super tight, but what this bushing, or what this collar is doing here, sorry I keep calling it bushing, what this collar is doing is it's preventing the axle from moving this way. I can't move it out now because that collar is in the way. The last thing we do is we slide in our 60-tooth gear, and now we need to put a collar on the outside of this gear to stop it from falling off. And for this, you can find one of your collars in your toolkits that has no set screw in it, and you can tell because it'll be missing. You can see all the way through there. And you can just take one of these smaller bolts and thread that in there. And this works because this gear has a little bit of a piece that kind of sticks out a little bit, and so when this bolt goes on there, it doesn't run into anything. Okay, and we can just kind of gently tighten that down. Okay, and now this is all locked together. So this is our motor unit or a power unit.